today, because people have to, for those of you who have done any research into these sorts of things before, sales, marketing, and things like that, you've heard about all sorts of things. You've heard about AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. You've heard of know, like, and trust. People have to know you first and like you before they trust you to do business with you. But one thing that all these models have in common is that people have to know you. If nobody knows you, there's no link between getting to know you and then getting to buy from you. And that's why outreach is a really important part of the conversation and conversion. Now, before we begin, there's several other questions that I would like us to look at. So first of all, we have to know what outreach means, because it's a term that is used a lot, particularly by people in the tech space. So everyday, ordinary people like you and I who don't have tech backgrounds, I mean, for those of you who are listening now, who are not from the tech space, we have very little idea about what outreach means. Outreach just basically means you're looking for people to have conversations with who might be interested in your product or interested in your service. That is all that outreach means. Okay, and one more thing. For the purpose of this seminar, whenever I give a definition, it's not the technically correct term, but I'm just giving definitions that are simple enough for everyone to understand and everyone to apply. So apart from outreach, people also use other terms like go-to-market. That's also another one that is popular in the tech space. So outreach, go-to-market, what else? I can't remember the other term, but it all means the same. We're looking for people to have conversations with who might be interested in our product and our service. Now, conversion, on the other hand, means the process of sorting through all the people that we have met or we have established contact with during outreach. So it's the process of sorting through people's intent and then trying to get them to take the next step. Because when you try different outreach methods, whether online or in real life, you're going to meet some people who are interested in your product or service. Some people are just merely curious about your product or service. Some people have a definite want or a need that needs to be fulfilled right now. But the thing is, not everybody is going to be ready to take action right now. So we need to go through the process of trying to figure out people's intent. Where are they in the level of interest or need? And then we need to be able to get them to take the next step that is appropriate to their stage. So someone who is merely interested or curious might be a good candidate to keep around so that you nurture the relationship, whether through email or WhatsApp, or you make them a part of your Instagram community or whatever. But for someone who has a definite want and need and is ready to take the next step now and can afford, then the next step in your sales process is going to be a little bit more immediate. And that is the whole goal about conversion. And that is how the two things interplay. So remember that outreach, looking for people to talk to who might be interested in your product or service. Conversion. Now that we found those people, we need to sort through their intent. Who is interested? Who is merely curious? Who has a burning need to move ahead now? And what is the next appropriate stage that we have to move them through? So the strategy for handling outreach to conversion is now what is called sales. Some people will call it marketing and say that sales is a smaller component. Whichever way you want to look at it, sales definitely has a strategy and a philosophy for how you handle outreach, all the way to how you handle conversion. Okay, I want to be sure if people are following. So if you guys are following, please do put a thumbs up just send a thumbs up in the text, in the chat function. I want to be sure that my audio hasn't died. Is the audio still going through? Okay, Motolani. All right, Victor. Okay, very good. So it looks like the audio hasn't faded away. Okay, so remember, chat function is open. Any questions, you guys just let me know. Okay, so now remember that I said that sales has a framework for handling outreach all the way through to conversion. Now, if you look at what the traditional definition of sales is, you will now see exactly how this applies. So sales is a framework, or sales provides a framework for covering a number of things that all of us have to go through. The first one is prospecting. That is looking for somebody to talk to. Prospecting is also called outreach. It's called different things according to different industries. But for salespeople, we just call it prospecting. And then, of course, the reason why we use the term prospecting is because as a salesperson or as a business person, you are similar to old school gold prospectors, people who actually go to prospect for mine, for silver, for zinc, whatever. It's the same thing. They're heading into the field. You're looking for possible deposits of rich minerals so that you can mine it. That is the original meaning of the term prospecting. And that also applies to sales because we're doing the same thing. There's a vast market. We're going out there looking for who to talk to. Now, the next step is qualifying. That is the process of figuring out who is, sorry, that's the process of figuring out if they are interested. The next stage is discovery. Then at that discovery stage, we're trying to figure out how bad their need is or how strong the desired course of action is, how strong their vision is. Then after that, the next stage is the close, which is where we get them to take the next appropriate step. Oh, sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention. Because there are lots of terms here and lots of steps and things like that, I know that folks might get overwhelmed, but not to worry. I'm going to send a resource. I'm going to send an audio link after all this is done, so that it can be shared on your WhatsApp group. I asked to be put to be joined to your WhatsApp group for 24 hours after this, so that not only can I share the resource, but then I'll be also be able to take follow-up questions. So don't worry if you're not getting all of this. Okay, so so the close. And then after that, another important stage that most business owners don't pay attention to, especially Nigerian business owners, is customer success or customer service. And basically, that's the part of the sales process where we're trying to figure out if people are happy, if people achieve their results, and if people are fulfilled. The reason why this is important is because the next step after that is recurring income. And recurring income is where people come back, they do business with you again, or they refer their friends, their family members, and their associates. This final step of recurring income cannot happen if we are not really good at the customer success function or the customer service function. We need to be sure that people are absolutely happy, that they achieve their goals before we can ask them to buy from us again and to send their friends, their family members along. Okay, so is everyone following so far? Okay, sorry about that. I paused because I received a message. I was just reading the message. Okay, one moment. There's been a request to share the screen. So let me try that. Hopefully the video is not going to cut out again. Okay, all right. So now while I'm trying to share the video, there's also been a question of whether I'm going to be asking questions with the 4 selected businesses. Yes, I'm still going to be asking questions of the 4 selected, the 4 businesses. But the reason why I went over this framework is just so that you get an idea of where it is, of the framework that we're going to be using when we're examining these 4 businesses. We're going to try and come up with prospecting ideas. What ideas can we come up with for how they can look for people to talk to? We're also going to try and come up with qualifying questions or methods. How do you figure out if people are interested? We're also going to try and figure out conversational questions that they can use to figure out who is in need, who is most in need of the product or service, how to get them to take the next action, and then also to figure out if everyone is happy, and then how we can move to recurring income. So this is the framework that we're going to use to assess the 4 businesses that we have over here. Now, the businesses that we have are, there's one, Crown of Honor Creations, that is run by Adeola Daramola. So she's into event planning, venue decorations. She said that her biggest challenge right now is landing the right clients and scaling up. The second business is Pex World Agro Foods, and that's run by Edebiri Peculiar. And she has a food processing company. And of course, the challenge is making sales and visibility. And then she also added there that she has to educate customers before she can sell her products. Okay, that's the second business. And before I move on to the third, there's a question from Ruth Uwandu who wants to know if I can go through it again. Can you please mention what part of it that you missed so that I can go over? You'd have to be more specific about which part, because so far what I've done is I've tried to define what outreach is. I've tried to define what conversion is. I've tried to define sales, and I've given you a sketch of what the sales process should be. So what is it that you want me to go over again? The definition of outreach, conversion, sales, or give you a rough draft of what the sales process should be for everyone. So that's to Ruth Uwandu. Just type it out here, and when I see the response, I'll address it. Then the third business is Lana Healthcare, and that is run by Motolani Akindele, and she offers home-based medical services. The challenge is client acquisition and brand awareness. Then the final business is Oremi Crafts by Vera Adeshegun. Please forgive me if I don't get the names correctly. I'm not Yoruba, so I'm just I'm doing my best to pronounce the names. So Vera Adeshegun, Oremi Crafts, and she's into urban, well, accessories, basically fashion accessories, urban pieces, timeless pieces, and then the challenge of visibility and getting more customers. Now, before we start looking at the class questions, oh, by the way, the first person that is going to start will be Adeola Daramola. So Adeola Daramola, if you're here, please signify in the chat. I want to be sure that you are ready so that we can start using your business as a case study to explore these ideas that we have over here. So Adeola Daramola, if you're here, oh, okay, good. She's here. That's nice to know. Okay, so you're going to be the first person that we're going to start looking at questions. And by the way, when I ask her the questions and she starts typing in the ideas, it's not limited to her. Other people who have ideas, you can type them out as well so that we can brainstorm. Because remember, this is supposed to be a strategy session. We're going to brainstorm with ideas that she can use. And the goal is this: from the ideas that we drum off from for her, you'll be able to see how these apply to your businesses as well, and how you can run this exercise by yourself. So, sorry, I think somebody has unmuted their microphone. I'm hearing some noise in the background, please.
I think that's Daramola. This is Daramola.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so Daramola, hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe we should try the audio. Okay, but don't hold on. Before you talk, I just want to give a few comments on the businesses before I start asking you the questions. Now, you mentioned that one of your challenges is landing the right clients and scaling up. So one thing that I wanted to point out is that scaling up, now perhaps it's too early to talk about scaling up now, because we need to establish certain frameworks in our businesses before we talk about scaling up. And one of them is the sales and the sales framework. We need to establish that first before we talk about scaling up. They also need to talk about customer service and fulfillment. We need to be sure about that framework before we scale up. Then we also need to have standard operating procedures or management procedures before we talk about scaling up. So perhaps scaling up is not something that we ought to tackle at this particular event. Then the second question. Okay, my second comment is to Edebiri Peculiar. That's Peck World Foods. I'm looking at my notes. Okay, yeah. So you said that Peculiar says that she has to educate customers before trying to make them to buy. And so one comment that I want to make, and you'll see as the seminar goes along, is that if you have to educate customers, then perhaps they are not at the right stage yet for you to move along with to establish a business relationship. Because after we find someone to talk to, the next stage actually is qualifying, which is trying to find the level of need. But if people need education, then perhaps they don't have that level of need. Perhaps they might not be the right person to be talking to, but that's something that we can talk about later. Then for Olana Healthcare, okay, the questions I had were beyond the scope of this session because I would have to look into licensing, registration requirements, your relationship with the NHS, things like that. Let's see, what else? Okay, and then for Vera Adeshegun, I noticed that you described your pieces as urban, and then you also described your pieces as timeless. So I think you need to work on your brand positioning, which is also beyond the scope of this session here, because urban things are usually trendy, but then timeless things are usually classic. And unfortunately, urban and classic don't necessarily go together. But the good thing is that if you have a good idea of sales frameworks, you're going to be able to figure out the information that you need to decide if you're urban or timeless. And that is by talking to customers to get to refine our ideal customer profile. Sorry, one moment. I've noticed messages flashing in. So let me go back to the chat function. Okay. Olari sent in a message. He said you have a few questions. Yes, please. For anyone who has questions, just go ahead and put them here in the chat function. I'll be able to address them. Okay, and then Ruth Uwandu wanted us to go over the sales framework again. Okay, so let me just do that one more time, and then we'll go into questions for Adeola Daramola. Now, the sales framework is this. We need to come up with the sales framework is this. We need to come up with ideas for prospecting, which is looking for people to talk to. Qualifying, which is finding out if they're interested. Then discovery is we're trying to figure out how bad the problem is. The close, which is getting them to take action. And the customer service or the customer success function, which is trying to figure out if people are happy. And the reason why that is important is because before you can ask somebody to buy from you again, we need to be sure that they're happy and that they achieve their aim. And then the final step in the process is recurring income. Recurring income, repeat business, referrals. Some people call it maximizing lifetime customer value. Okay, let me explain maximizing customer lifetime value and why that is important. So while I was in Kano during my youth service, there was a fellow that I used to buy bread from. It was a while ago. I think that was 2007, 2008. So I can't remember how much a loaf of bread cost, but let's just assume it cost 100 naira, just so that the math is simple. I would, whenever I was in Kano town, because I served in the village, I would buy 2 loaves of bread, one for me and one for my host, the place where I was staying, because both of us were big eaters and we could finish the loaf. He could finish a loaf of bread, I could finish a loaf of bread. So that's how we used to unwind in the evenings. So I'd buy 2 loaves of bread. And I was in Kano for a year and maybe 3 or 4 months. Now, while I was leaving Kano, the bread seller was sad to see me go He prayed for me. He also gave me a complimentary loaf of bread, and I took it to my flatmate. That's my host where I was staying. And while we're having tea in the evening, because Kano gets really cold during the Hamatan, um, he mentioned that the way he explained it was this: that of course the bread seller would be hard to, would feel sad to see me go. And then he said, think about it this way: since you've been here in Kano, you've been buying 2 loaves of bread at least. Because sometimes I would buy 6. Maybe I would buy bread on Monday, maybe on Wednesday, maybe on Friday. But at the very least, that's 2 loaves of bread every week, every month, over the last year and 2, 3 months. So my value to the bread seller was not 100 naira. My value to the bread seller was 100 naira multiplied by 4, which is 400 a month at the very least. Then multiply that 400 by 12. So when I was leaving that bread seller, he knew that that was the amount of revenue that was leaving his business. So when I left Kano, it was not 100 naira that left. Can somebody do the math, please? It was 400, 400 naira times 12. Okay, well, remember, sometimes I would buy, I could buy bread 3 or 4 times a week. So let's just use 2 days. So I was buying 400 naira a week times 4 weeks. That should be 1,600 multiplied by 12. So whoever comes up with the answer, please let us have it here so that you see the total amount of revenue that was leaving. Now, a lot of us who run our businesses, we fail to see that when a customer leaves, the customer is not just leaving with the, okay, that's 20,800. Okay, Chidi Okoro, thank you very much for helping us do the math. If the number is wrong, blame Chidi, don't blame me. So the value that I had to that customer was 20,800. And that's why the bread seller was sad. A lot of us have not realized that every single time we lose a customer, what we lose, oh, okay, somebody else wrote 19,200, another 19,200. Okay, well, I know you guys get the picture. Whatever the real amount is, whether it's 20,800 or 19,200, you guys can see that my value to the bread seller was not 100 naira. The average business owner, every single time you have a customer service issue, you're like, I beg, get out. Is it just on top 100 naira? But actually, no, it's not. The customer is worth a whole lot more. Okay. Chidi confirmed that she's doing her calculation across 52 weeks. Okay, maybe that's the difference between the 19,200 and then the 2,800. Because if you use months, you might not get the accurate figure. Okay, yeah, I guess maybe that's it. Anyway, but bottom line, you can see that I was not worth 100 naira. I was worth close to 20K to that customer. And so a lot of Nigerian business owners do not realize that, which is why they pay attention to the first few stages, but they forget about customer success and recurring income. So if you're doing prospecting, you're looking for people to talk to, you're finding out if they're interested, you know the level of the problem, you get them to pay and you try to solve the problem, but you don't care if they're happy and you don't get them to come back, you're not losing 100 naira. Assuming you sell the 100 naira item, you are losing more like 19 grand. So that in a nutshell is what the sales framework is. So now, Deola Daramola. Okay, so let's try this out. Let's hope this works. You can unmute yourself. And now that we know that the first step is prospecting, why don't you let us know what you have done to find people for your business in the past, and then we'll talk through that. So while Adeola and I are having this conversation, for people who think there are other ideas that she can try, you put them, why not put them here in the chat function, and then we can explore those as well. So Adeola, I will leave the floor to you now. So question number 1, what have you done to find people? And the stage that we're looking at now in the sales framework is prospecting. Okay, so Adeola, over to you.
I think she's gone off.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No, she's writing it out. Okay. All right, good. So you have
Okay.
explored social media
Okay.
marketing, one-on-one marketing. Okay, good. But one more thing, if I pause, is because I am making a note. Sorry, one moment, guys. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. I noticed that the internet signal was becoming weak, so I had to move the modem just so that the thing doesn't cut off. Okay, so she says that she has explored social media marketing and then one-on-one marketing. Okay, so can you explain? Okay, referrals. All right, that's good. Okay, so can you explain when you say one-on-one marketing, what do you mean by that? Okay, so while waiting on Adeola to comment on. Okay, okay, yes, I think.
Yes. So for one-on-one marketing, I reach out to brides to be, people who just got engaged for their weddings, people who just delivered babies, and people who have children who want to celebrate their milestones, first year birthday, 50th year birthday, 10th year birthday. I reach out to them in my environment. Sometimes when I go to church, either in church or in meetings where I have these people, I speak to them and tell them what I do, and then share my business handle with them. So that's what I meant by one-on-one marketing or word of mouth.
Okay, all right, very good. Now, for the brides, where do you meet the brides?
Mostly in my church, there are people who are within the singles young adults frame. That's what we call them. They are like they are within the marriageable age. They are not married. Some of them are in a relationship. Some of them just got engaged. And when I noticed that, I just approach them, talk to them, and sometimes share in their group. They have a particular group. I share these things in their group as well.
WhatsApp groups or physical meetings in church?
WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp groups. Sorry, I can't hear you.
WhatsApp groups. Okay. All right, very good. And then for the people who have babies, how do you reach them, or where do you reach them? The people who have babies, you mentioned we've looked at three groups so far. We've looked at brides, we looked at kids and are celebrating milestones. So we've spoken about brides and we've spoken about the children. So what about the babies? So where do you meet them?
The babies, I meet their parents as well in church, friends, families who have friends who just delivered babies or who is pregnant and just delivered, they need my services. So I reach out through my families and through my friends. I'm able to reach out to them.
Okay. All right. No problem. Okay. So thank you very much for that. Sadiola, I'll still ask you another question, but for now, let me just make a few comments on the few things that we've written down. So for people who, if you have different ideas that you think Demola can try about finding people to talk to who might be interested, we should put them in the chat and then we can go over them as well. Okay, well, Larry here has a question. Okay, he wants to know the best way to get finance to grow a business. Okay, and the best way to get desired clients. Okay, so the best way to get desired, the best way to get desired clients, that is what we're brainstorming over here. As for financing to grow a business, I'll make a note of that, and it's something that we will address later. Then let's see. Dahusi Daniel has a suggestion. Okay, suggestion. Okay, suggestion is that you have a friend, normally the influencing kind, that can do campaigns for you. Okay, not a bad idea. But Husi, Daniel, you have to be more specific. When you say the influencing kinds, do you mean a friend that will go around and talk to people and hand out flyers, or a friend who's going to be making content on social media to promote our products or service? So we have to be much more specific. He also has mentioned Google Ads. Okay. All right. Now, the reason, okay, so he has clarified he meant more like a social media influencer. Okay. All right, that's good. Now, interesting ideas that have been put out here, but now I'm going to make a couple of comments on them. Olanre has asked the question, what is the best way to get one's desired clients? Now, usually when people are at this prospecting stage, they are thinking about the best way. And sometimes people think about the most easiest way, but it's not necessarily about what's the best way or the easiest way, but it's more about looking at your context. You should be paying attention to, well, right now in the early stage of the businesses, the truth of the matter is that you don't know what it is that is going to work. So you have to start off doing as many things as possible. When you find what works, then you dig into it. And so that is an essential part of the prospecting process as well. So in this case, she has a clear set of ideas that her ideal clients most likely might be brides, parents who have kids, or parents of newborns, and that's a good idea. And she has been going about this, it looks from what we discussed about so far, using her, what I say, church community, personal relationships, people that she has relationships so far. She's been speaking to friends, she's been speaking to family members, and she's been speaking to associates. That friends, family, and associates cannot serve as they can't serve as the foundation for our sales and marketing efforts for a very long time. Because unfortunately, our personal network out of hearing about our business. Because to us, our businesses mean everything. But if I'm going to be leaning strongly on friends, family members, and associates, after a while, people are going to be tired of hearing about my business, what it is I'm trying to achieve, things like that.
Hi, Tabishima, you're breaking off.
Start looking beyond
Hi,
these
Tabishima, can you hear me?
relationships that we have and looking broader. So, Daramola, you would need to come up. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Let me repeat. Let me go back. Okay, all right. So the comment that I can hear you. Is there a problem? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, you were breaking up before. Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, the screen just went blank and then came back again. So I've lost all the messages that were here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you sent a message before 12:10, 10 minutes after 12, please send them again because I can only see messages from 12:12. So please just go check the chat function. If you think you sent in a message before 12:10, please send it again. Okay, so this is what I was trying to say, that Adeola Daramola, she's done a good job of looking at friends, family members, and associates. That is a good place to start. But eventually, we have to look beyond that we have to start considering people that we don't know, because we can burn through our personal connections very easily. And if you notice, she's doing some things offline, she's doing some things online. I'm going to categorize virtual stuff like WhatsApp groups to be online activity. She's mentioned that she's also posting in WhatsApp groups for people who are in relationships who possibly could be brides. So she's using content and then using content as well as talking to people, and that's a really good idea. But when it comes to prospecting, the main question is, where are my potential customers? The potential customers are either online or offline, and you need to go exactly out. I figured out that her people are in church. She has gone to church. That is good. But then our potential customers also outside church as well. For brides, apart from church, please point out which city that you're in, Adiola. So, another way that Adiola could find brides is by going to business expos, business exhibitions. Now, for those people who are in the agri space, like PECAS,
Please just hold on. I think we've lost our facilitator again. Well, he should be back on shortly.
back. Sorry, guys, it cut out again. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen some messages. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, yeah, so I've seen a message here from Chidi Okoro, okay, that you could consider connecting with photographers and other businesses that transact with similar clients. That way, if the client has a need, they can direct your services. Okay, that's a very good suggestion, and that's what I was going to next. So first, I was talking about business expos that Adeola could attend. So in Lagos, you have the one called the Wedding Expo. The Wedding Expo is run by the same company that does GTB food and drink. Is it food and drink or food and fashion fair? And I think the Wedding Expo is coming up soon. So what they do is the organizers they do a good job of putting the word out and advertising. so that brides from all over the state get to come to one location, typically an event center, and then people like Adiola, you get to buy a stand where you can showcase your products or your services. So makeup artists there, with all the makeup stuff, giving some giving some free makeup sessions or something like that, offering consultations. Wedding photographers are there with their um, with their photo albums, with their frames. Okay, Dahusi Daniel he has replied GT Co Food. Okay, yes, and that's it. That's the fair I was referring to. So the people that do GT Co Food are the same people that also organize Wedding Expo. So you can think of attending business expositions like that at Yola. That would be a nice way of meeting brides. Now, the good thing about business expos are that people that you find typically are business a decision than all these other people that you've been talking to. So people who are in relationships in church, I mean, that's good. But the thing is, they might be 3 months away from the wedding. You have no idea about that. And this is a key part about determining where to spend your time. You need to figure out who is to making a decision either right now or within a reasonably determined point in the future. Because if you're spending time with people who are who have a sense of urgency, then you're spending the time spent is more profitable than spending time with people who might be making.
Please kindly hold on for our facilitator. He should join us back again. He's been taken out due to the network glitches again.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Hi, Tabashima. Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. All right. Terribly sorry about this. Somebody has their speaker on. Can you turn the speaker off? Because I'm hearing myself.
Hi, Tavishima, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, but it's just breaking a little bit.
Can you hear me now? I've been
Yes.
unmuted.
Yes, I can.
Please, if you guys can hear me, please say
We
something.
can hear you now.
I've been unmuted. I'm not sure if I'm like.
Hello, Tavishima, can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, we can hear you. I can actually hear you now. Although it's not as clear as it should be.
Okay, let me try going over what it is that I said. Okay, yeah, okay, it looks like it's breaking. Okay, let me just try going over it. Now, before the auto died, I was trying to stress the not limiting ourselves to our friends and members, to go beyond. And so because of that, I think it's a good year to, oh, sorry, one moment. Okay, someone has suggested I switch to flight mode on data device and then reconnect. Okay, it's a good idea, but not to try that because I'm using my phone. Yes, if I switch to device, if I switch to flight mode, I think it would off the internet. Okay, so I was trying to stress the importance of going beyond things that are familiar. So let's try and do some more familiar stuff. So Adeola Daramola, it would be nice to try out some business expos apart from the expo, which is a bridal event. You also might be able to go the food and the fashion fair because since you offer event planning services, it's possible that apart from brides, you can also find some good business from there as well. George, sorry, Okoro, is the audio still breaking? Chidi, Nafisat, let me know if the audio. Okay, Nafisat has responded that the network is really bad. I'm trying to switch, but while I'm switching, were you able to get the Nafisat and Chidi, were you able to get about how we should go beyond what we are familiar with, and then also try reaching out to people that are strangers, like for instance, using tools. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Nafisat has complained that she hasn't gained anything since funding, but the experience has been beautiful. Okay, I'm very sorry about that. One moment. Please give me 2-3 minutes. Let me try switching one more time.
So sorry about the network glitches. Again, the replay will actually be available on YouTube. So it's going to be free for all. So you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and then you'll be able to access the replay. Tabashima, you've been unmuted.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I think because the internet is really terrible, yeah, I don't think we'll be able to continue like this in a productive fashion. So I'm thinking all the questions that we're getting in the chat section, would it be possible for people to just send those questions to you directly? Let me have that, and then I make an audio recording and send to you guys. Or if there's a WhatsApp group that has been created from this, we can if a WhatsApp group has been created from this, I can answer questions in chat. So I mean, what do you think? People sending in questions and then I send an audio recording for you to share on the group, or
Okay, I think some of the questions are actually been typed out based on what you've said. So again, the only persons that may want to ask questions so far
okay.
might be the selected businesses. So I think we should just go on because you're a bit clearer now.
I'm clear now. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so let me just finish it at so Yola, what you're doing, very good idea. Let's try and move beyond people that we are personally familiar with. It will be a good idea for you to try out business expos.
Okay,
So
Tabashima, can you hear me?
what we said on the group, we have highlighted to there is
Hello?
the wedding expo coming up soon. I can't remember when. And then you also have GT.
Hello, Tabashima.
I think that happens twice a year. Join the plan, you should do some
Hello.
business there being beyond right. So
So I'm thinking we may have to move this session to maybe a Google Meet and see if that works for our facilitator. So we can all join through that channel. I'm guessing this maybe his network over there might not actually be so strong for Zoom. So maybe we can actually try an alternative channel. Okay, then I think we can try that out.
okay, yeah, I'm back now. So I don't know why the thing keeps cutting out.
Okay,
So you're saying we can
Tabashima,
try
can you
out?
hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I was saying we can try out Google Meets and see if that works for you.
Google Meet. Oh,
Yes.
okay. To do that right now.
Yeah, I'll just create the link. While you're just don't go off yet, so I can just create the link and reshare so everyone can join in.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So while we're waiting for the link to be prepared, let's move on to Edebiri. That's with Pex World Agro Foods. Okay, food processing company. Now, you said that you have a problem with educating customers before you make a sale of your products. So can you explain what that means? That you're having problems educating them? You can use the chat function if you're having problems with your audio, just like I am. So I'm asking Debiri Peculiar, Pex World Agro Foods. Oh, I just assumed
Okay, please, can everyone just click the link shared on the chat box and join the session on Google Meet? Please click on the link shared on the chat box so we can all continue our session on Google Meet. Thank you. Please kindly join the Google Meet session using the link on the chat box.